We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on the Miami Dolphins starting offense. We get to see a lot of these guys in the action for the first time this season, preseason week 2 versus the Texans. Now, obviously, it didn't start out too great with an interception on the first play and even, some bad snaps after that, so they start off a little rusty. But they bounced back, and it is preseason, and I'm not too worried about Tua throwing an interception on the first play. He's got a little rust coming off of him, and I know what to expect from Tua. And usually when it comes to the preseason, I'm just looking at like some other things because you can learn a little bit of stuff like context on how players are used. You get to see certain players in action for the first time in this type of offensive scheme, and looking at this play, it's not that big a deal. Obviously, it looked pretty bad live, and I thought it was kind of funny because I knew people would be overreacting to this type of play. But I know what to come to expect from Tua, and my favorite part about the interception actually was just seeing the offense face adversity. They really did bounce back, and I think the balanced attack afterwards was the most exciting part. Like, they beat the Texans on a 90-plus yard drive, picking apart through the air and the running game. It was really exciting to see, as we'll get to that. Now, if I want to break down this interception, I kind of, come to understand why he actually threw it. It's a seam rail slide RPO that the Dolphins have run hundreds of times with Tua since McDaniel's been here. It's his go-to bread and butter play. You got the seam from this tight end, Croft. You have the rail route from Tyreek Hill, the slide underneath right here to Smythe. And usually Tua doesn't move on this throw. He has the capability, but it's an RPO move now because this guy's kind of coming in and blocked, and he feels this. So he gets out of the pocket and just throws this. And this defender right here is who he is reading. He's reading this guy, the curl flat defender, is who he usually reads on this concept all the time. And when he makes this read, he sees him come down to the slide. And usually when that would happen, every time last year, he would throw this quick seam and be open. But he tries to throw the quick seam as he's moving, so he doesn't see this guy, the middle linebacker, Denzel Perryman, floating with him because he's moving. And then usually this player is a little more to the inside, but since he's moving, he flows with the quarterback and then ends up getting in the throwing lane. And Tua doesn't really see him because he sort of moved himself out of the pocket. He does get the tackle, though, with his back. So, yeah, that's why the interception happened. Definitely a mistake. He'll have these plays from time to time. It's not a huge issue. But now, after watching the film, it makes logical sense why this did happen. Just being forced to move. And when you move like this and he's kind of looking all the way out, his peripheral vision isn't able to see him. If he was standing stationary in the pocket, his peripheral vision would be able to see this linebacker. And he's kind of just making this guy out to the flat. And then he wants Croft to sort of sit down. And then he just never saw the linebacker. But he did do a really good job, as we'll see after this, of responding. And we get to see, some offensive linemen in the action for the first time and how other players play with Tua, the chemistry of things. And those are the little things that you can learn in these preseason games. I think one thing I learned is that Durham Smythe and Braxton Berrios are kind of going to be like Tua's go-to options on like these types of coverages when they're facing, zones on third downs and mediums, third downs and longs, where he can attack the middle of the field. Because Hill and Waddle will get a lot of attention, and I think they can just get to the middle of the field, work open spots. Smythe being, a little more bigger, a little more physical, he creates space here. He kind of, like, after Perriman picked him off, he kind of picked on Perriman a little bit on a couple plays here. He wants to go here just based on what he sees pre-snaps. He sees the, split safety look. He knows he's going to be a zone most likely, or he's going to get matched up underneath in a zone match, and he's just waiting for Smythe to create that late separation with a push-off, and he just throws it with good timing and accuracy. Love the bounce back. Just love the poise of this play. We'll go back and watch it from, the wide-angled view. Just understandable. Texans are coming out in cover 6. Pretty much the best option is to go here when you have the number 3 is lined up on a linebacker here. They're basically bracketing to the outside on 3-on-2. This is a 2v1 out here with a cloud corner underneath. Not a great option to go to. And he just finds his one-on-one matchup with a tight end on this linebacker. And he takes advantage of it and did a really good job of bouncing back after this, after the early mental mistake. Nice to see. Also, great pass protection up front. I thought Kendall Lamb was very impressive. Isaiah Wynn looked really good. Hunt was dominant. I thought everyone looked pretty good on the offensive line. Jackson does a good job there as well. I think I'll have a video on Jackson later this week probably because he's looked better as well. I would say the only problem, Connor Williams blocked well, but he had some high snaps, which is still an issue from time to time, but did a really good job blocking, at least holding his guy late. And then Smythe being a nice little safety blanket option this year for Tua. Another third down situation, this time 3rd and 3, and they get cover 1. So they tried, to zone it up, go cover 6 early on in the 3rd down situation. And I don't think I've ever seen a player create so much separation so quickly. Like, Tyreek Hill is an absolute cheat code. Getting man-to-man, this is why teams are not going to play man-to-man versus the Dolphins very often, especially when you're not going to be able to press and double Tyreek like this. He just gives, the slight foot fire, hard release, like he's going to, he does a good job of setting this up like he's going to hit this slot fade, and then just breaks it off to the outside and gets this guy all turned around and absolutely destroys, gets it to it, makes an easy read, pick up a first down. The offense just started clicking. Also, this is Durham Smythe right here. He gets a one-on-one with like a safety. He runs a pretty good route right here. Like, he sets this guy up, gets to the inside, creates separation. Smythe, I think, is going to be a lot bigger part of this offense than people expect. I think I'll have a video on Berrios later this week too. I think Berrios is sort of like that leader for the wide receiver 3. And I think they're just going to be important options to this offense because they're both sort of the possession over the middle of the field. But this is a good route, and most separation I feel like I've seen him. He stabs the inside, gets this guy to overextend, and then gets over the top. He's able to play with a little more play strength than Gesicki. Gesicki is more of a freak athlete, and I think, it brings a little more value to work those middle of the field routes where you're more of a possession guy, because Gesicki would attack vertically, and the Dolphins need someone on this offense who's just more of a possession, use your body to win over the middle, sit, find those soft spots, and I feel like that's where Berrios and Smythe will bring a lot of value to this offense. This is where the Dolphins started running the ball. They started getting some successful runs. Mostert looked good. Savon Ahmed looked good. Pretty much all the running backs looked good. Hopefully Devon Achane is okay. Let's put some prayer circles out there. I really need Achane to be okay because he's been one of my favorite players to watch. He looked good in his limited touches. Chris Brooks, I'll have another video on him probably because he looked really good again. He's going to make a tough decision for this offense. Love this from Austin Jackson. He ends up on the ground, but he takes his guy down with him with a linebacker. He's a lot thinner this year. He just looks like a tight end, honestly, with his body size. And you could see he definitely is willing to get physical out in space. They bring Craycraft in to, crackback block this defensive end, take him out of the play. Craycraft is probably the best blocking receiver. He's going to make it a tough decision because they kind of have 7 guys at the receiver position and 5 at the running back position, and I feel like they want to keep all of them. And you just get Mostert out in space. Jackson really with the key block here, and then he does a good job, even though he kind of runs into Berrios blocking there, and Berrios does a decent job. Ends up pulling his guy to the ground, tries to pull him to the ground with him, but just a good job at least holding him in long enough, and then Mostert fighting for extra yards to get upfield, and that was just sort of the start. Nice little 6-yard gain, and we'll see some more chunk runs shortly after this. Another 3rd and 3 situation, and Tua understands this quick read, throw to the running back is where you want to go right away with this ball in this situation. Just good understanding of what he's seeing. He's a really good quarterback pre-snap, and he's just reading this flat defender. He sees single high, and if he recognizes it's not man-to-man, he knows it's going to be cover 3. He sees this guy really gain his depth, and these receivers right here, you have that little bunch tight. You have them work up here just to get him to, gain his depth, and he gets the ball out to Ahmed's hands quickly, and now he gets a one-on-one in space with a lot of space to work with, where he's still multiple yards away. Ahmed looked amazing. He was bouncing off tackles. His quick feet, he's such a, quick-footed athlete. Like, it's not, the greatest long speed, but his step frequency is so high. Like, he is taking so many quick steps, and I just feel like watching Ahmed in this offense, they really valued him, especially at the end of last season, and I think that's why you saw him barely in action in the first game, because they kind of considered him, a lock. I feel like they consider him a lock for this offense to make the roster. I've seen some people he proved himself to make the roster. I feel like the team already saw him that way, and I've wanted to make a video on him for a while, and there will definitely be some coming out later this week. And he's kind of, got some similarities to A-Chain as well. I would say A-Chain's a little more explosive and can create long, he has more long speed too, and they're slightly different with their play styles, but nice to see Ahmed really getting involved, and I think he'll definitely play a role in this offense. Good read by Tua, just getting him out into space too. This offense was clicking. Nice to see them pull off the rust quickly after and have this success early on. Mostert looked very comfortable. We got some split zone action happening here. Cut off that guy. He almost breaks that for the long one. I just feel like Raheem's been an underrated player in this league, and there was times last year where I just feel like he ran a little, not timid, but he didn't run as hard as he could. But when he just takes off and starts hitting holes, He's very difficult to stop, even though he's an older running back. They're setting Tyreek in motion here, getting, this defense all confused pre-snap. Love the pre-snap motion stuff. And then you have the zone run, split zone action. You leave this guy unblocked. Everything ends up getting blocked here. Well, Isaiah Wynn, like this 3-text, tries to shoot up the field. Isaiah Wynn just uses his own momentum against him to create this space. They're able to cut off. Robert Hunt does a good job. Connor Williams gets to the next level, does his job of, taking this guy out of the play. He tries to move out, get around Williams, so he just uses his hands to take him off, and then it's just Mostert with insane acceleration to hit this hole. Just really well blocked up front by everyone. Lamb does his job. Lamb does a really good job just kicking his guy out, holding him at the point of attack. Really excellently done. Jackson, everyone pretty much blocked up front, did their job on that play. Some more important than others just because of where the ball was hit through the which gap, but Mostert showing up. Love that the running game, if the running game can be successful, that's what can take this offense to the next level, because then teams will really have to respect that. And you get, we didn't see any Jalen Waddle in this game, and we didn't even, Robbie Chosen didn't even really get involved either. So we'll see how this is going to play out with all those weapons. I thought, we got to see some more Easy. He had some plays, didn't get to see a whole ton, but he looked good again. And I thought Cedric Wilson, River Craycraft, both looked good in their limited action. When they got the ball, they made some plays. It's going to be a very tough decision to decide to see what happens with that wide receiver room. This was my favorite Tua play, the completion to Braxton Berrios on a 2nd and 9. He just knows exactly where he's going to go with this. He gets another split field safety look. He's seeing that it's going to be quarters over to this side of the field. They have a 3-on-2. They have a 4-on-3 matchup. But he's just sort of reading this flat defender right here. His eyes are on him the whole time. And once he sees him sort of pass off the Tyreek to the outside corner, he has the possibility of throwing that to Tyreek. Those are kind of his two options. But it's not, it's a much more difficult throw to make. He sees this guy not get enough depth to the inside. He's kind of holding Smythe. So he takes his one-on-one. He knows he has Berrios one-on-one with Denzel Perryman, and Berrios does a great job creating separation. I just love how having a smaller athlete that's very high change of direction skills and Berrios working in the middle of the field, super impressive. I love that route. Able to get out of there, completely change direction like this, super impressive. He sets this up, gives him that hard stab to the inside, and then is able to completely almost 180 to get to the other direction and create that separation, and he fits this over the hand of the flat defender. Berrios almost stays on his feet to get around the safety behind it. Just good job knowing where to go with the ball. He's just really understood he wanted to attack number 3. He knows what he's seeing pre-snap, and that Berrios is probably going to get lined up on this linebacker. He just has to have this curl flat defender be far enough outside to fit into this window, which he does, and the timing anticipation is all there. He's getting ready to release it as Berrios is about to break, and it goes over his hand. Really good accuracy. Nice to see him and Berrios have that chemistry, because I think he's going to be a big part of this upcoming season. Last play that we're going to break down, we get some, gap scheme action here off the pull. Mostert into the end zone. This is the final play. They score. Get to see some starters still play after this on the offensive line, but for the most part, everyone, finished up here. They get to see Robert Hunt pulling, some down blocking. Look at Lamb sort of create that space on this guy, and he's able to pass it off with Wynn. They work the combo, and then Wynn's able to come off, get this guy who's trying to blitz in here, this safety, number 1. He's able to see him, love the processing there. Hunt pulling through. We got some tight ends working here. I believe that's Tyler Croft doing a pretty good job too. Tight end room's going to be interesting as well. I really don't know who's going to make the final roster at the tight end room. I'll definitely get into that later in the week with some film breakdowns. But good blocking there. Hunt pulling up through, help create all this chaos, and then Mostert does a good job just pressing up into this chaos. He's going to work off the back of the blocks, and then makes the safeties, linebackers all commit down, and he just bounces it to the outside. He's too explosive to get there, so really good job setting it up. And then, he does, his celebration on the surfboard stuff. So really liked what I saw out of the starting offense after, the first 2 snaps with the bad snap and the interception. And, a lot of things you can learn, I think, from this. The offensive line looked really good run blocking. They were facing Texans starting defense for the most part, not all the starters, but they got to see at least some starters out there, and they looked good. Looked like a well-oiled machine after the early mistake, which I'm not too worried about, because Tua will throw interceptions, but he's not a super interception-prone guy, and they pretty much always bounce back after them. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.